welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. This is Michelle Reads YA. Let me fix my camera. I thought I was too close. Was it too close? Whatever. So I tried a new lipstick today. It's more of a subtle pink. I think I like it, but I think I like it more for summer. So I missed that boat. So probably next week we'll go back to the red. Either way. This is my wrap up for October. In October, I read 23 books, but that does not include the books that I read for the Colleen Hoover Project and the books that I read for the Castleman Project. So I read over 23 books this month, which is, I love reading. Okay, so let's get into them because I'm not going to lie to you. I don't remember a lot about some of these books that I read. Like, it was just like in one ear and out the other because I was listening to it. So let's go. The first book that I read for October was The Project by Courtney Summers. We're reading this for my book club for the month of November, so I am ahead of the game. I gave this 4 stars. Listen, I read the reviews before I started, and the reviews are not good. However, I liked it. I really like cults. That's not, no, let's put it a different way. I like learning about cults. There we go. And I feel like I really did that with this book. I think it's getting such low ratings because it's nothing like Sadie, and I know that Sadie blew like everyone away, including myself, and it is just like not the same thing, not the same premise, not the same anything, but like I really enjoyed it. So gave this 4 stars. I think our book club discussion will be very divided on this book, so I'm excited to see what everyone has to say, but like I enjoyed it. So I enjoyed it. The next book that I read was Reallife Boyfriends by E. Lockhart. This is the last book in the Boyfriends quartet, and I gave this 5 stars. Listen, I loved it. I feel like it's just very realistic. Like, it's so realistic. I hated her mother. The parents are like atrocious, but I feel like that's realistic. And I feel like it's realistic for her to choose in the end who she like chose as her boyfriend. So it was realistic and I gave it 5 stars. I love this quartet. I don't own it because I think 2 of the books are out of print. So I gotta like email E. Lockhart and be like, hey girl, can you talk to your publisher? Because I would like to own these and just like reread them all the time. They are a bit outdated. I think they're like 10 years old, but if you are into contemporaries, I highly suggest these books. Okay, the next book that I read for the start of spooky season was Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Caesar. This was gifted to me, I think, by my friend Rye from Rye's Reading Corner, and I will put her channel down below. So I ended up giving this 3 stars. I had to check. It's been so long since I read this. Okay, I ended up giving this 3 stars because it was good slasher and it involved politics, which I normally don't like to read about politics because like I'm involved in politics in my everyday life like a lot, and so like I read to escape. However, this was very good. I will say I listened to the audiobook and I did not like the audiobook. Like, it takes place in a lot of different perspectives and there was one narrator and that just like grinds my gears, man. So I feel like I probably would have given it 4 stars if I had read it physically, but I read so slow physically now. So like, yeah. Like, maybe I'll give it another chance. Like, keep it, normally I am unhauling books that I give like 4 stars or lower. I think it's 3.5. So I might keep this one and try it again physically next year. So we'll see. But I mean, it was like a good, like I was entertained. It was the audiobook. Ugh. I'm telling you, audiobooks, narrators make all the difference in if I enjoy a book or not. So publishing, keep that in mind. The next book that I read and absolutely loved was The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. I bought this book when it came out because there was a lot of hype about it coming out, I remember. And I was supposed to buddy read it with someone and we never did. And I was like, I need to read this. So I read it physically because there was only the audiobook on Audible for some reason. Anyway, anyhoozle. Love this. I gave it 4.5 stars. Why? I don't know. I knew what was going to happen. I like figured out the plot right away. I figured out the twists right away. I figured out everything right away. Still enjoyed it so fucking much. Like, the fact that I like knew I was like 10 steps ahead of like what was happening in the book didn't like deter my rating at all. It was just like so atmospheric and just so fucking good. Like, I love this. I will definitely be reading this every October. Just like the atmosphere, the writing, so good. Like, it didn't even matter that like I knew what was going to happen because it was just so good. And in this cover, look how shiny it is in my ring light. Fuck. This is such a good book. Like, I'm so glad I finally read it. Ugh. Okay, the next book that I listened to was A Faux Love Story by Lone Lee. I gave this 3 stars, and that sounds right. Honestly, I don't remember a lot about this, so let me read you my Goodreads review. It felt, let me start over. I felt this was a bit long and really started to drag in the middle. I liked both characters a lot, though. I definitely wouldn't read this if you're on a diet like I am. So I've been on a diet for like 5 months, but it was like all about food, which all sounded delicious. So anyway, I will say, like, now that it's been a month since I have listened to it, it's a little forgettable, but like it was a good, cute, little romance. It reminded me of Tweet Cute by Emma Lord, and I love that book. So like I like this one a lot too. I will just say like it's a little forgettable. So yeah. Okay. The next book that I listened to was False Witness by Karen Slaughter. I gave this 4 stars, but let me read you my Goodreads review. I'm so glad I do Goodreads review so I can remember. I think this is more of a 3.5, but I'm feeling nice. I think my only complaint about this is the same complaint I have with Pretty Girls, in that it's so long. Correct. This was very long. Could have definitely been cut down. I also felt like a lot like Pretty Girls with the contacts and the tapes. Yes, I definitely feel like I already read this. So when I was looking at the books that I had read for this month, I remembered False Witness because I read Pretty Girls earlier this year, and that one stuck in my head because it's dark. However, I feel like False Witness was exactly like Pretty Girls. Am I the only one who thinks this? Has anyone read the two and can like relate to me? So like they both dealt with like videotapes, which I don't want to like give away. They both dealt with very like brutal rapes. Like, it is not a pretty book. Like, neither of these books are. The only difference between False Witness and Pretty Girls is that False Witness takes place in 2021 during the pandemic, and like she talks about the characters like putting on masks, and I'm pretty sure she says something about a vaccine. That's it. Otherwise, I felt like they were very similar, and like, is it just me? Let me know. But I gave 4 stars. Felt like more like 3.5. Also, her books are so long. So will I continue reading Karen Slaughter? Yes. Do I think they should be cut down 100 pages? Also yes. Okay, the next book that I listened to was The Gunk by Stephen Rowley. I gave this 3 stars. I thought I was gonna like this a lot more than I did. I did not like the audiobook. That's just a me thing, I understand that. And I also did not like the main character, the Gunk. I did not like, I thought he was like sassy and funny in the beginning, and then like it was too over the top throughout the whole book. I like the lesson that this book is saying, but like it was just okay, and I'm glad I didn't end up buying it. Okay, and then I did The Colleen Hoover Project, which I will put up above. Is it this side? I always do the wrong side. It's up there. Okay. The Colleen Hoover Project was overall a fail. So I can tell you that I read Verity, and Verity is like the only book that I can recommend by Colleen Hoover for you. So The end. The next book that I read and DNF'd was The Final Girls Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I listened to the audiobook and I did not like the narrator, and I think I want to pick this up physically. I think I would like this author, but like I've tried 2 of his books on audiobook and just like nothing. I don't like them. So I feel like I'm gonna have to like curl up with one of his books. I have my best friend's Exorcism on my shelf, so I should read that, because I feel like I would probably like this author, but like I'm not having any luck with the audiobook, so whatever. The next book that I listened to was White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. I gave this 3 stars. Listen, I was loving this so much. I thought it was gonna be another 5-star, like where like Monday's Not Coming. Like that was the road it was leading me on. It was another 5-star, and then the last like 10% pushed it down all the way to 3 stars, because I would have preferred if this stayed paranormal. Like I understand the lesson that this was giving me and everyone else who is reading it, but like I feel like the paranormal stuff in this book was really like the good part, and then it went in a completely different direction, and yeah, so yeah. The next book that I DNF'd was Sunny's Song Will Never Be Famous by Suzanne Park. We are reading this for February for book club, so it was available, so I got it. And I DNF'd it. So I can always tell when a YA book is too young from me, because I am old, and that's fine. And not all YA books are going to resonate with me. I can always tell when I'm too old for it, when I am on the side of the adults. And that's exactly what happened in this book. So I was like, why is she doing this? The adults are right. And that's when I decided to DNF it. So it happens. I am not the target audience for any YA book, so that is okay that it didn't work for me. So I wasn't gonna finish it when that happened. The next book that I read and loved, and you're probably not going to be surprised, and I didn't get one with the sticker, so bypass that, is The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood. Now, I'm on TikTok, link it down below, and it is all over BookTok, and I was like, whatever. So this was gifted to me on my Kindle. Someone bought the ebook version of me, and I was like, whatever, I'll read it. I'm supposed to be reading ARCs, but no. I read this instead and loved it. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. 5 stars. I don't really like romance, but this was amazing. I loved it so much. I will say that Adam, the main character, is described exactly like Adam Driver, so I pictured him the whole time, and I am not particularly attracted to him, but like maybe now I am. It's very hard. It's very confusing. It's very confusing. Like good soup. I don't know. So like I loved it. I loved it. And so I bought a physical copy because I loved it. So I loved it. 5 stars. Read it. Okay. The next book that I listened to was Dairy Queen by Catherine Gilbert Murdoch. This is quite old. My friend Tatiana was reading it, and she put it as reading on Goodreads, and I was like, this seems like a weird choice for you to be reading. What the fuck? So she was like, read it. I did. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't like particularly love it, but like I did not hate it. It was fine. 3 stars. I have nothing intelligent to say about this book. Okay. The next book that I listened to and did not like was The Accident Season by Maura Valley Doyle. I never had this in my DTBR, but it's been on my shelf forever, so, and I had an audiobook, so I was like, okay. My Goodreads review is, I'm not sure what I just read. I think this had a great premise, but then the middle of the book dragged so much. I just kind of stopped caring. Also, he did the relationship in this so much. I would like to talk to someone about this because it's weird, right? So if you have read the accident season and you've made it 16 minutes into this video and are like, yeah, I remember their relationship in that book, and you would like to talk about it with me, please leave me a comment and or DM me somewhere, because I did not like the relationship in this book at all. I wish it was edited out completely, help me, and that was like a big decision maker on me giving it 2 stars, because no. And also, like, this book just wasn't good, but I read it and it's off my shelves now, so. Okay. And then the next book that I listened to is also by Maura Fowley Doyle. God, and that is All the Bad Apples. Love this. Hated the accident season, and I was like, am I really gonna read another book by this author? I did not like this. Loved this book. I gave this 4 stars. I think my Goodreads review says I was going to give this 3 stars until I read the author's note. Normally I just never read the author's note, but I saw someone else's review that was like, listen to the author's note, and I was like, okay. So I listened to the author's note, and it was so good. And like, I know the politics, especially those surrounding abortion in Ireland, are not good. Like, they're bad here, they're worse there. So I really like this. It was like a touch of magical realism, but not enough that like I didn't get it. And it was mostly contemporary and had to do with like abortion, and I liked it a lot. So I gave this 4 stars. Very good. I highly recommend this one. It is a little dark, but I liked it. Okay, the next book that I read for my spooky TBR was Lies You Never Told Me by Jennifer Donaldson. Okay, so my friend read this before me, and I was like, not trying to like be spoiled, but also the audiobook is amazing. 2 separate narrators, thank God. And I'm like, how in the fuck are these 2 stories anywhere close to being related? And then they are, and you're just like, what the fuck? And I can't remember how many stars I gave it, but it was probably 4 stars. Yeah, no, 4.5. Oh my God. So my review is, I can't believe I couldn't figure out the twist, but I did not figure out the twist in this because I'm stupid, but it's a good twist. I really liked it. I really liked this book. 4.5. The audiobook was amazing. 2 narrators. This was just like really good. It wasn't like scary. It was more of a thriller mystery. Really like this one. And we don't get a lot of thriller mysteries in YA, so I really liked it. It was good. Okay, the next book that I DNF'd, because y'all lied to me, was the X-Hex by Erin Sterling. No. TikTok really fucked up on this one. Probably book Twitter as well. Y'all really lied about this book. I made it 80% in when I was just like, I absolutely do not give a fuck about this book, and returned it on Kindle because there was no chemistry between the main characters. There were like 3 storylines going on at once that were all boring. So I did not like this one, but kudos if you liked it. The next book that I read was Better Together by Christine Riccio. So, let me start off by saying that this book has awful reviews. So I did not know that going in. Normally when I put a book that like I'm currently reading on Goodreads, I'll go and look at some reviews, and the reviews from my friends on Goodreads are atrocious. So to say I was not excited to pick this up would be an understatement. I gave this 3.5 stars. So I did not think it was as bad as my fellow Goodreads friends. I don't know if people were giving her bad reviews because of who she is, or because like they didn't like her first book, or like, I don't know. But honestly, and I would consider myself like a harsher reviewer now than I was like 3 years ago when I started this channel. But I did not think this was a bad book. It was a mix of The Parent Trap and, oh, what's the other one? Freaky Friday, Lindsay Lohan. Yeah, okay. 2 Lindsay Lohans. I just realized that. Okay. So, I did not think this was a bad book. Like, at all. So, I don't know. I don't know what people's issue with this book was. I don't know. But I did not think it was a bad book. Also, I did not realize that it is signed by her when I got it. So, like, I'm very excited to have this book. I did not think it was bad. I did not think, again, But Better was bad. I don't think any of these are bad. Are these people not contemporary readers? Like, I don't know. I did not think this was a bad book. 3.5 stars. Okay. The next book that I read, I did a buddy read with Rye, so I'll definitely put her down below. And that is Witch Please by Anne Aguirre. I think that's right. I gave this 3 stars. She gave it 4 stars. I felt like Titus, is that the main dude's name? Was like the male version of a manic pixie dream girl, and I did not like him. He was so boring and like too good. Like, everyone wants a good man, but he was just like, no. That's it. The next book, oh, I have it. Ugh. The next book that I read, I listened to for the first time on audiobook, and that is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. The trailer for the book that the movie that tells like the entire book is out. I'll try to link it down below. But if you haven't read this and you would like to see the movie, I would not watch the trailer because like it gives away the entire movie. So like, anyway, the first time I read this, I gave it 5 stars. This time I gave it 4 stars. It was probably the audiobook. I'm not kidding. The audiobook wasn't great. And I don't know if it wasn't as cute as I remember, but like the next time I pick it up, I'm going to read it physically again because the audiobook did nothing for me. Okay. Okay, and then I did the Castleman Project, and I will put that up above. I read 6 books for that. And then, oh my god, I cannot wait to talk to you about this book. I was going to read this book anyway for the Spooky Project, and I listened to like 1% on audio and then was like, I don't want to do this. And then my best friend was like, do you want to buddy read this? And I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna do it. I listened to 25 hours of Imaginary Friend, which is the whole book, and I gave it 1 star. I read reviews from my friends, and most of the reviews were, I loved 60% of this book. 60% of this book was so good, and then it just goes downhill from there. I'm here to tell you that the 40% that they don't talk about is Christian fiction. If you, like myself, are not into religion, do not read this book. No one told me. No one told me I was about to read Christian fiction, and like a lot of it. And like all of a sudden we're talking about deers in the woods, and then there's an Immaculate Conception. So I'm here to spoil this for you and let you know so you aren't me and get trapped in this book. It is Christian fiction, and I don't recommend it. It is not horror. It's Christian fiction. This is bullshit. I hated this book. I hated this book. 1 star. Why did I DNF? I thought, no, it has to get better than this. And also, I was buddy reading it. So, fuck. It's Christian fiction. No. Okay. Luckily, after that, I read a really good book. And that is Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jean. Love this book. I initially gave it 4 stars, and then the next day I woke up like thinking about it, and I just absolutely loved it. So I'm going to give it 5 stars. I had 2 5-star reads this month. I'm blessed. This was a combination of The Princess Diaries and my Our First Daughter, which came out in 2004, starring Katie Holmes, I loved it. I love this book. We're also reading it for book club next year, so I hope everyone likes this book because I just thought it was good, cute, nice, contemporary romance, YA, amazing, loved it. There's a sequel. Can't wait to read the sequel. And then, oh my god, finally, the last book that I read in October was Finlay, Donovan is Killing It by El Casimano. I love this book. It was ridiculous. It was not realistic at all. It was so funny and I just loved it. I give 4 stars. The audiobook was great. When I tell you, I haven't read, listened to such a good audiobook since Sadie. This narrator fucking killed it. This was the best narrator I have read since Sadie. So, whoever you are, I love you. Narrate everything. Like Russian accents, man accents, 2 different female voices. Just such a good audiobook narrator. I wish she narrated everything. That's it. Don't read Imaginary Friend. Read other things. Have a good day. Goodbye.